right, guys, how's it going? Well, as you can see, I'm not in my usual environment at the moment. I'm not even in my temporary environment. I'm on my travels. I'm in England, and I've just been to get my hair cut. So I've literally just pulled up in the car, and I wanted to quickly update you with a new video. And I think it's an important video. I think you should watch this video. I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. It's a beautiful sunny day here in England. So I'm looking a bit, Donald Trumpish, I think, a bit orange at the moment, but it's very, very bright. So I needed to speak to you actually because, I review the Spanish newspapers every day, as you know, for this channel, and also for Golazo España, my other YouTube channel. Usually, I'm not doing that at the moment while I'm away on my travels. But there was something in Marca today, and it was on the back page of Marca, and it was about Alexis McAllister. And it was written by a journalist called Jose Felix Diaz, okay? He is the main man when it comes to Real Madrid coverage, the closest man, if you like, to the club. He's been my go-to for a long time. He's kind of like, what Paul Joyce is to us with Liverpool. When Paul Joyce speaks, we know that it's Michael Edwards, I think, and Richard Hughes now as well. So when Jose Felix Diaz speaks, I personally listen, and I've conveyed that for some time. I recently spoke to Jose Felix Diaz. I made contact with him, and we do have communication now, which is a good thing for Cop Talk, I feel. So basically, before I get into what he wrote, I want to just mention something to you. Now, you might have seen these quotes from Carlos, the father and agent of Alexis McAllister, okay? So he's called Carlos. And he was talking about Real Madrid and, some of the Twitter twats and aggregators and all that, they've picked up on the quotes. You'll have seen them, I'm sure. And I'll just stick with these ones, because it's important that you know these before I go into what I'm about to read to you. So his father and agent said, "For now, I don't think he'll leave Liverpool. Time will tell. Alexis is very happy where he is. He lives in Manchester, and on the same block as him is Robertson, Gomez, and 4 blocks away is Lisandro Martinez. Alexis speaks English well, understands the rules of the game, and converses with people. I think it's been the best thing that's happened to him, and that's why the adaptation was easier." So those were comments made by his father. Now, depending on the type of publication that you read, they'll be spun in a particular way, right? What I do is I tend to just focus on the comments. Like, I've cut all the blurb out around that particular article that I got them from. And I always say this to people: try and ignore the headline if you can. Try and ignore the comments around the article if you can, and just focus on the quotes, because a journalist can make you think one way or the other. The headline can also plant a seed, and even the photo that can accompany things. If it was a player of Alexis McAllister waving to the copy, oh my God, he's leaving. Do you know what I mean? So they do this, they know what they're doing. So those were the comments from his father, Carlos. Now, so moving on to today's article by Marca, and Jose wrote as follows, and I am going to read it out to you actually, because then I'm not picking and choosing little bits and spinning it in any particular way. He said, "Analysis, assessments, rumours, news, verdicts, all sorts, and from every angle. But the only certain thing about Real Madrid's 2025-26 season is that Alexander-Arnold will be stationed on the right flank, sharing the role with Dani Carvajal. From there on, everything else is just speculation as we await the final verdict. That is, the key meeting that Florentino Perez and Jose Angel Sanchez will hold in May, once the season is drawing to a close. Just like in previous seasons at the Bernabeu, this will be the moment when decisions about the club's future are locked in." That also means managerial decisions, right? But transfer decisions as well. "While we wait for that moment, a flurry of names is being thrown around, and the latest one has come from 2 different fronts. The first and most eye-catching came from the player's father, and just so happens to coincide with the week that the player's name was mentioned around Valdebebas. That Valdebebas is Real Madrid's HQ. We're talking about Alexis McAllister. The Argentine midfielder is one of the names to have come up in the latest talks at Valdebebas. He's one of many players on the radar. See, even they've got a radar. For the next Real Madrid side, a technically gifted footballer who would offer real quality, as Rafa Benitez would say, quality, for sure. Like many others, he's currently being scouted and evaluated as the club decides whether he fits into the project and whether he could help erase the lack of fluid football that's been evident at times throughout this season. When this gentleman speaks, this journalist, right, I think he speaks with a level of maturity and not sensationalism. And I want you, if you don't follow these journalists or know who they are, trust me, right? I monitor these people all the time. This is what I do, especially with the Spanish journalists now as well, because of the Trent situation that we've been following for a long time. And I've managed to get a foot in the door a little bit, which I'm pretty chuffed about on a personal level, right? Because I think it helps us. So when this guy writes, speaks, whatever, I listen. Well, he can speak in Spanish, in Castellano, but I might not understand him because he talks too fast. He actually sent me an audio message when we first spoke, and I was like, I had to reach out to a Spanish Chicano and say, what's he saying? And I was like, you've got to get it right, okay? Because it was about Trent. Now, let's continue with the article. Next, it says, message from the father. As Marca has learned, Real Madrid's plan includes making at least one high-profile signing, but they're also looking to secure players nearing the end of their contracts, which doesn't apply to the World Cup winner in this case. One example of a player in that situation is Konaté, Liverpool's centre-back, whose contract runs until 30th of June 2026. The heart of defence is one of the areas being targeted for a refresh ahead of the new campaign. Now, remember, you might now turn around and say, but don't, you said they weren't that keen on Heisen. No, what I said was they're not looking at recruiting a centre-back till 2026. That's the plan. But they may bring it forward to 2025, maybe for Heisen, but they don't want to pay the full release clause of £50 million, which the rest are now starting to say what you guys have known for a long time if you follow me closely, right? We know this, don't we? We've known this for a while, but, the rest of them are catching us up a little bit with those claims. So the heart of defence is one of the areas being targeted for a refresh ahead of the new campaign. Back to McAllister, he goes. Officials at Real Madrid have been taken aback by the sudden appearance of comments from his father regarding Madrid's possible interest. So in other words, they've been discussing him, internally, but not exclusively, looking at a number of people and stuff like that. And then the father's come out with the thing, which is, I think what the suggestion is here is that it's more like mentioning the father mentioning his son's name with Real Madrid, right? Like being a bit clever, if you like, and maybe his comments weren't as innocent as some people think. This comes, right? This is the taken aback by the sudden appearance of comments from his father about Madrid's possible interest. This comes just as the club was weighing up the option of moving for the Liverpool midfielder. Is it just a coincidence, or is it a case of putting himself in the shop window just in case? For now, it's just another name being discussed in Madrid's internal planning meetings for what's coming next. Now, what I want you to do here is that this journal, right, Jose, he's not being it's not a sensationalist article. It's a very, very calm, very genuine article, I think. And maybe you don't see that, but he's not coming out saying, Real Madrid on the verge of bidding for it. It's just like, they're chewing over different options, looking at this. That's the first time I've seen him mention Konaté. You might have heard Konaté mentioned with Real Madrid in recent weeks or months, but I can assure you that's not been credible, right? It's not come from anywhere credible, just the usual shite, right? But now we have got the best, in my opinion, let's say closest, in my opinion, Real Madrid journalist that is very well connected to the club, mentioning Konaté and McAllister for what I believe is the first time. And this, to me, it might be to you, to me, is a big deal, all right? It doesn't say they're going to go and do anything, but it means that they are, discussing possibilities and, of course, other players, as he's saying, right? But the point is, you can now say there is confirmed interest in those players. It's confirmed interest, nothing more, and you've got to be so careful with words in football. Fabrizio Romano will be out confirming everything left, right, and fucking centre once he catches wind of this thing, and he'll be passing it off as his own, But trust me, guys, Jose Felix Diaz is someone you should listen to. Now, I don't need anyone to come into the comments and say, we don't take what they say as gospel in the Spanish press. No, we don't, but just like we don't in England. But what we do is we pay attention to a very limited, amount of journalists. And people throw the word journalists around a lot, but I'm talking Joyce, Ornstein, right? We listen to them. We know there's propaganda. We know there's propaganda in Madrid as well, right? But it's a very, very interesting article for me, and I'm trying to convey that to the people that trust me and follow my content. I really do study these things. And I tell you why it's also interesting. Again, you might not agree with me, but this isn't like a big picture of McAllister on the front page of Marca or Konaté, or even just a couple of pages inside. It's just a very small, half-page article, opinion piece on the back page of Marca. Very relaxed, very chilled, and it seems very genuine to me. So what I'm trying to say to you here is a few things. One, I think his father knows what he's doing. All right, he's also his agent. He's putting his name out there with Real Madrid. Two, we have the best, I think, Real Madrid journalists saying, "Oh, they were talking about him only a few days ago. Is it a coincidence?" And also Konaté. So to me, that's the confirmation. If you'd have said to me yesterday, Real Madrid are after Konaté, I'd have said, shut up, City. No, they are. It's just speculation. Now I'm seeing something what I deem credible, right? And it's just something that you need to bear in mind. Now, don't forget, Alexis McAllister, I remember telling you about this, I think it was last year, said in an interview that he was asked Spain one day, and he was like, yeah, definitely, why not? He has aspirations of playing in Spain, and because of his origin, of course he has, all right? No shock there. So all I'm doing here is I'm not trying to, I can clickbait you and exaggerate and sensationalize things. I'm sat in a car, I'm on my little fucking break, but here I am. I need to tell you about this, and I'll try and, title the video as sensibly as I can. But I also want people to watch this video because I think it's very important. And why? Why is it very important? Is something going to happen? Not necessarily, but knowledge is power. And I think you guys need to know what's being said by the right people. And you've got people now looking at Liverpool players, maybe not for immediately, but Konaté's situation needs to be resolved, and McAllister down the line. But if you follow my content, I think the majority of you guys that follow my Spanish reviews that I do daily as a rule for this channel, you would know about McAllister's desire to go to Spain, and it's hardly a shock anyway. But now you've got Real Madrid going, he's a fucking good player. He could be just what we're looking for. But also keeping an eye on Konaté and the mention of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I'll tell you this, every single thing that Jose has said about Trent Alexander-Arnold has been accurate so far. And what I'll tell you is, just in case you've missed this previously, when I spoke to him, he told me that Trent hadn't signed anything yet with Real Madrid. This is when everyone was saying, all the talk sport hysteria and all this shit. We know what's going on, guys, don't we? We think we've got a good idea, right? And the media started saying all these different things, which you guys already are aware of if you follow. And he said to me, no, there's nothing signed yet. And, Real Madrid are like, we think this is going to happen, but we don't take anything for granted. That's the attitude that's really in Real Madrid regarding Trent. So you can see all the confidence and arrogance through the Real Madrid press in Marca and AS, but that's just the Spanish and Real Madrid, right? But internally, what I was told was until they come, not until Trent comes, they, meaning Trent and his camp, and complete everything, anything can happen, right? And, the reference he said to me about Davies at Bayern, he U-turned. Remember, those two situations were running parallel, Davies and Trent. Sit tight, we'll come and get you, but we can't get you if you sign contracts. But Real Madrid always thought that Davies might U-turn because his agent apparently fucked them around for quite some time. But they never tried to sign Davies. And what Diaz said to me was the situation's not comparable with Trent because Real Madrid, they wanted Trent. That's why they offered cash for him in January. They didn't offer cash for Davies. So Davies, however, did U-turn, right? Because he looked like he was going there, but Real Madrid were like, whatever, right? If Trent did that, I think they'd be fuming, right? Fuming. And the other thing the other example that was given to me as to why Real Madrid feel the way they do about Trent and not taking everything for granted, despite this 99% done shit. 99% done is not 100% done, guys. Done to me is irreversible, signed, sealed, delivered, can't get out of it legally binding, right? But what they said to me was that Kylian Mbappe said for a year to Real Madrid, I'm going to sign for you, I'm going to sign for you, I'm going to sign for you. And when it came to that week, he U-turned. That was in 2022. So because it's happened to Real Madrid before, despite all the confidence they're getting from Trent and his camp saying he wants this move, he will not U-turn. They've heard it all before, right? So until it's signed, sealed, delivered, anything can happen. So I just want to update you on that bit of, that's the bit of intel that, you know, I've had from speaking to Jose. And yeah, so all I try and do on this channel is just try and, you know, tell you what's been said, what's been claimed, who to trust, who not to trust. I've been here for 27 years. I think I know a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But it's always about your opinion. It's not for me to tell you who you should believe and who you shouldn't believe. And that's why I respect your opinions and why I respect your comments. And your comments combined with my views, we bounce things off each other, don't we, guys? And 9 times out of 10, we're fucking right. You know, we get it together. We work together, don't we? And I think we've got a great little vibe going on here. Because sometimes I miss things and you go, hey, Dunk, what about? And I go, oh my God, I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave it with you. I hope you watch this this video. I think it's an important one. But listen, there's a couple of things. First of all, I think I've conveyed what I wanted to say to you in this video. If you like the video, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. Your comments are very important to me. I read them all the time. I'm going to be on my travels for a couple of days now, on the move, on trains, planes, and automobiles. So I like to read what you guys have got to say. If you want to get me a coffee or a beer, I'm off to my favourite pub next week, by the way, right? In the world, and don't happen very often, please hit the super thanks. It's a love art under the video, and I will give you a shout out in my next morning briefing on my other YouTube channel. That'd be super cool. Shout out to the channel members. They're the people with the balls next to them. They support it. They make everything happen here. Thank you. What else was I going to say? Right, so you can stop watching. Guys, I am going to be on the move. I have been for a few days. I hate working like this, you know. I can't work efficiently on my laptop. You know, when I go away, something always happens. I said to you the other day, I'm going to leave, something's going to happen. Next day, Mo Salah's announced, you know, I ain't even woke up sort of thing. So don't be surprised if something happens on Monday or Tuesday next week, or certainly while I'm away. I will be in a different time zone. My video updates will probably be in the afternoons. I don't go on holiday. I've never been on a holiday in all the time I've done Cop Talk, but I'm going to go and see my best friend Smooth. Many of you know Smooth. And I'm going to be updating you every day once I get there, right? Providing I get there. I don't like taking things for granted. So I will be around, but if something breaking happens at some point and you're like, well, where's Dung? Is he tossing it off? It just means I haven't got connectivity, because I guarantee you, even at 40,000 feet, if something goes off and I've got internet access, I'll try and update you. Sod's law, we'll see what happens. But it's just my little, you know, I don't know, it's good for the brain to get away, see your friends and family and stuff, innit? So, but yeah, I'll be there or thereabouts. Please keep me posted. My morning briefing's online from this morning. That's over on my other YouTube channel, at Duncan Oldham. The Church of Dunk is on there now as well. I've got that on X, on at Duncan Oldham, but the Church of Dunk is there now. So if you actually want to watch videos of me on the fucking move over the next few days, they'll be on there for the congregation. But yeah, more importantly, guys, all I want for you to do with this video is to listen to what's been said. And you can dismiss it, the Spanish media, as much as you want, but I think they've been well on the ball with the Trent thing so far. But despite the confidence and arrogance at Real Madrid, they're still like, what do you think could fucking happen? I'd be hilarious if he U-turned. I'm not quite sure he will, though. So, all right, I'm going to leave it with you guys. I don't think you'll hear anything more from me today. I'm recording this game half an hour before kickoff, so I hope it goes all right. And yeah, I'll touch base with you as soon as I can. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Thumbs up, comment, beer. Nice one. All right.